It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris.
My name is Patrick.
And this week, we're getting a better look at that revamped Daredevil series, Patrick. We're going to talk about all sorts of Marvel TV stuff, so it's exciting.
Nice.
Nicolas Cage, one of our, I would say one of the most wild card actors in Hollywood these days, is going to return to his Spider-Man Noir role. And we'll talk about what that means for I think it's Amazon later in the episode. The first DCU crossover character is confirmed. We have details on who that is and what their role is. We already know who it is, and we've talked about it before, but we've got confirmation and more. So thank you, Patrick. As people may know, we don't have Mike this week. We have Patrick. Patrick, thank you for jumping on the show with me this week. We're
excited to be here, man. Taking over for Mike permanently.
Oh my gosh, it's oof, man, strong words right out the gate here on
it's
on
a
the
coup.
show.
It's a coup.
It is very much so. What's he gonna do about it? Nothing. He's not even here to defend himself. So
I mean, and even when he does defend himself, he's going to do it with a baby in his arms. And man, I mean, he's going to be an arm down. I can take him.
Oh yeah, I mean, you as a parent, you got two up on him, so you're like, I've got this already down. I know how to handle this. He's just a rookie at this point, so that's kind of what it comes down to. But yes, thank you for doing it. For those who may or may not know, how long ago was it we had a short-lived podcast, Patrick? 2016, 2017 almost, it felt like. About movies. But yeah, Patrick listens every week. He also is one of the few people who will tell me thank you for the show notes because he can skip around on the time codes below. Yep. So
I try to keep up where I can.
Yeah, absolutely. And for that, you did text me last week, and I want to revisit this because I think we've talked about it off air quite a bit, but we were mourning the loss / celebrating the life of Roger Corman last week, right? And it was in the news for us because he was a producer on the non-released Fantastic Four movie, which is, I think it's even on YouTube. You can watch it, but you can find it places to watch. It's not very difficult. But I know Mike, he wasn't as familiar. He kind of started with the more recent stuff he produced, went backwards, but we took Bad Films together. That was my first introduction to Roger Corman. We talked about doing on the show, I talked about Bucket of Blood, Little Shop of Horrors, but you wanted to bring up some more information about him and his effect essentially on the film industry as it is today, and who he was able to help bring up the ranks of filmmaking.
Yeah, man, I just feel like we owe a lot to him. Like, solely, I think he jumped the movie industry forward, but all by himself. Now, you can say that through his credits on IMDb, maybe that doesn't show up, although he's probably more known for his producer credits than his directorial credits. But he influenced so many people in Hollywood, just purely by how he liked to do things. I sincerely believe that like independent movies and horror films would not be in the position that they are in Hollywood, both from like a quality standpoint and from a material gains standpoint, without his influence, because the way he liked to make movies and the way he was able to get the most out of his cast and crew and time on set was legendary. Yeah. And I think a lot of, especially horror movies, use these same sort of principles today. Like when we talk about percentage of like gross profit, the movies that are making the most money aren't the ones that you guys typically talk about on this show. Yeah. These big Hollywood massive Marvel films and stuff. And I know those are the movies that we love, but the ones that are making the most gross profit in terms of percentage are these horror movies that are shot over the course of 10 days and 2 weeks, or nowadays I guess it's probably closer to like a month or a month and a half. But these smaller productions, and all of that was influenced by him and the way he liked to do movies. Not only that, but I think if Mike would go back, he would see that a lot of the movies that he enjoys, the action movies outside of superhero movies, are heavily influenced by Roger Corman. Not only did he do the originals of some of these movies, like either directing or producing, like Death Race or the Fast and the Furious. The original Fast and the Furious, I believe, was a late 1950s, maybe early 60s movie that he wrote. Piranha, the original Piranha. So not only that, but he took a lot of these movies are available on YouTube and Amazon Prime. He had a bunch of early 60s features with Vincent Price that are really, I think, really good for the time, that are based off of Edgar Allan Poe novels. I mean, I think they all have some, like varying level of quality, but you can get good things out of all of them. Not to mention like the people that he brought directly into the industry,
Right.
or that he directly influenced, like James Cameron. James Cameron's former wife, her name is eluding me, but that was a very famous producer. Scorsese, obviously you talked about Jack Nicholson last week, Ron Howard, Francis Ford Coppola, Robert De Niro gave him his break. Yeah, I didn't feel like you were doing him dirty. I just don't think that I think there's a lot of things that we can know, that we need to know from him, that you can't just learn from an IMDb page, I guess.
Well, absolutely, and I think in context of the show, I think for superhero movies, again, like the direct connection for us is fantastic, but absolutely you can't understate that. I will also say, as a producer, I did look up, like, he has handled, I think the U.S. as a producer, the U.S. distribution for like a lot of foreign directed films, like Akira Kurosawa films and Ingmar Bergman films. So his hands weren't just like, oh, he made bad movies cheap and quick, and they gained cult status, which they did, but he, as the film industry, he brought a lot of people up with him, around him.
Yeah, I think even that Italian director, Fellini, I think he brought some of his movies in too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was a film man his entire life, and I think the film industry owes him a lot more. That's all.
Absolutely, and to have a full life, at 98 years old, that's great for him, right? Like, I think that's always, it is, sad we lost him, but again, celebrating his life and successes along the way is super, super important. The other thing I was going to kind of touch on last week, I think I just barely had gotten to play the Marvel Rivals closed alpha test last week, but
I want to hear about this.
But I've been able to play every night this week because it ends the 20th, which I think is tomorrow, like midnight. But I've been playing with the way the game works is, so I got a closed alpha code, and then after I hit level 6 every day at 8 p.m. I can get you get a code that I can give to a friend, and I gave it to a friend of ours, Lonnie, and then the essentially the waterfall of codes have gone through essentially our mutual friend list, Patrick, of people I've been playing with all week. But it's been really fun. This game is, for a closed alpha game, and it was like, well, it's a beta. I'm like, it's not this before beta. There's like 19 characters, and they're all very unique kind of archetypes of things if you've played Overwatch, which I think you said you had. So there's push the cart, or stop the cart push, or capture the points. Very basic, really fun. But like, I love this game because they've really hit a couple things on the head. Number one, the art style. All the characters don't look like their MCU counterparts or like their comic book counterparts. They really were able to lean into a distinct look for the characters along the way. But with that, when you're just kind of in the room waiting for the game to start with the other characters, any characters, 2 characters, sometimes 3, will have unique dialogue based on like their history together, or like things they have done. Like if you're playing Magneto and you have Scarlet Witch, and in the comic books, that's Magneto's daughter, right? Kind of thing. So they have some conversations about that. Or there's a character called Luna Snow. She's relatively new, created like 2018 for Marvel Future Fight. She's a pop star in the MCU, Korean pop star, and she has conversation with Iron Man about who's more popular and who's more rich based on that kind of stuff. So adding those little like flavored dialogues along the way has really just kind of made the characters come to life, rather than like, oh, I'm just playing Overwatch with Marvel skins. There is that character building that and I would say Blizzard used to be known for it really well, but I don't know, I've not played enough Overwatch 2 to really to understand if they've brought some of that forward or not. But it's been really fun to play and do that with. And I'm not a PC gamer. I have I'm a Mac user. I have my Steam Deck, but I have an arcade computer that's been running this. I've been remoting it onto my Mac, so I've been like accessing it remotely so I could play the game with my controller, because I'm a controller boy. I can't go back to mouse and keyboard, Patrick. It's just it's too tough for me. Yeah, I've come a long way, but
I would definitely have a hard time at this point going back to a mouse and keyboard as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been fun. It's great when you have like your teammates and you're able to communicate with everyone. I think at one point we had 4, maybe 5 people on one team together in one chat. So I think that's where things come to life. I really have a lot of fun playing. I think last week I said Scarlet Witch is a really fun character. I came to enjoy Penny Parker, and I don't know if you remember her from Into the Spider-Verse, the first one. She's the one who controls the robot spider suit.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So she's one of the characters, and she's like a tanky character, and it's really fun to play as her. And she's got little spider drones and little spider bots helping you out. So I really enjoy playing that character as well. But did you have any questions on it? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, back to what you were saying originally, these voice lines, are they like while you're in combat, or are they like in the menus, or how does that work?
When you get into the game, like there's like a time period before the game starts, like a 30-second to like, I don't know if it loads everything up or just gets everyone together. When you're in that little holding area with your characters, that's where the conversations happen.
Sure. Okay, that's fun.
Yeah.
I was going to say it would be really I don't know, kind of random and hectic if it was happening while you were shooting at another character or something.
Yeah, and they will say like they have like battle stuff, or like there's a Punisher. So I think I very remember someone saying Punisher's over there or something. Like they will call out other characters as well. When you see like enemy characters, so they have that, but like they don't have the full on like deep meaningful conversations in battle.
Gotcha. What are the maps based off of? Like, are they based off of popular MCU locations, or?
So, yep, there's 2 maps so far. The first is called Yggsgard. So it's a mixture of Yggdrasil and Asgard. Yggdrasil is the world tree in Asgard. So it's very Asgardian based, if you will. And the other one is it's like a, I don't know the name. It's like a future Tokyo, like Tokyo 2099, but it's based on like that's where the it's a Spider-Man map. So it's I think Tokyo 2099 is what it's based on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they could do some really interesting things with those environments pretty easily. I mean, and that would add a lot of character to the game, I feel like.
And what's cool about that is also like they can my understanding is that there's 2 Doctor Dooms fighting for like different timelines. And like that's why we have Yggsgard. It's like a mixture of like 2 of the worlds. So like if they wanted to blend things together, that would be really fun, right? To make their own levels in that regard.
Is the environment interactable in any way?
Yeah, you can climb. Well, I guess I don't know what interactable. You can climb, but it's destructible. The game actually has destructible environments, so
sure,
you can blow through walls. In Asgard, it'll heal itself after a certain time point. Like the lore is that Loki is the god of Yggsgard, and he has magic to like he wants it to look pristine. So if it's damaged or broken or whatever, it comes back. It respawns in essentially based on his magic after a certain time. And then I believe in Tokyo some of it respawns, but I don't think a lot of it. I feel like if it fell down in Tokyo, it stayed down in Tokyo. So that doesn't have that kind of stuff. But the environments are more destructible than I anticipated overall.
Oh, okay. I can't remember. With the destructible environments, are you able to create like new paths for the cart, or is it always pathing in the same?
The cart paths in the same direction, but you can get to the cart, or maybe like kind of sneak around on people, or find like a shortcut of your own by doing
Right.
that. There's one on in Asgard. It's the map that you just control the points. Like whoever's holding the points longest wins. And there's a door and it's closed off, but you can blow through the door and like come up underneath everybody.
Sweet.
But like when it reses or respawns the map, it comes back. So like you have to blow through it every time. But like it is a fun little thing to have like a little quote unquote secret path. When everyone's going up and over, you can go down and around them a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds like a blast.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, again, it's very closed alpha. It's very early, but like it seems really polished from like a gameplay point of view. So I'm very excited. I know a bunch of data leakers have mined at least 20 more characters are in the code, or at least have been in the works. So that'll probably launch with 39, 40 characters. The battle pass, you're familiar with battle passes, right?
Yes, sir.
This, it's got a very character-based battle pass with a character called Galacta, which is the daughter of Galactus, and she had like a small comic book in like 2010s. It's very, for lack of a better term, this is like something you would see in like an anime in like Korea kind of thing. Like it's very leans into the humor of it. It's not really Galactus's daughter. It's like a teenage girl with a Galactus helmet on, right, kind of thing. And she as you go through the battle pass and you get different pages, there's like a whole page of her telling you what the world is and what's going on and like what Galactus is doing. Like it's really, it adds more to a battle pass and just checking boxes along the way, right? There's some actual story points that break that up really well, which was fun.
Nice.
So yeah, I've been having a good time with that. I'm excited to play some more tonight and tomorrow before it ends, and then go probably back into Diablo 4 because they launched a new season for that this week. I love that. I like a good Diablo 4, so we'll do that. But if you're ready, Patrick, let's jump into the show notes if that's good with you, man. So first and foremost, I told you literally, I put this in here while we were talking, getting ready for the show. Is Deadpool Wolverine has announced that tickets go on sale tomorrow for this, and usually, if my guesses are correct, and sometimes they're not, but most of the time, if tickets are going on sale, what does that mean? There's a trailer.
New trailer.
Yeah. So I'm gonna guess there's probably gonna be a trailer tomorrow for this, and again, this is. When I went to see, what was the last movie? Was it The Marvels? I believe was the last movie out. Normally, I buy a bunch of tickets for a bunch of people, like my friends and family locally, and we all try to go together because they're like, oh, when do tickets go on sale? Chris knows, he'll just get them for us. The Marvels, we did not do that, and a lot of people just didn't have it to go out and see that. But Deadpool and Wolverine, the power house that is Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. The only Marvel movie out. I assume the marketing for this is going to really, really ramp up starting tomorrow, and kind of get there. So I was like, I told my wife, I'm like, hey, how many tickets do I need? Tell me who I need to buy tickets for this, because it's going to be a good time. So I'm pretty excited. Any thoughts on this? How have you been feeling about the trailers and footage so far for the show?
I just don't want to watch too much. I mean, just because you guys have been talking so much about how there's going to be cameos like crazy. It looks like they're doing either world jumping or that sort of thing. So I really feel like the Deadpool to me is a good percentage about the humor, as it is, I'm sure, for a lot of people, and the way that you go into, or at least the way I like to go into a comedy movie, is to not have all the punchlines spoiled for me. So I really feel like I don't want to see any more trailers. I'm already in. So
yeah. So I think one of the cool things, and we've said this about Deadpool, is Ryan Reynolds. He's a marketing guy. He runs a marketing company. I would think they would like record special lines for trailers that they wouldn't then put into the movie, right? Like. Or like, we've got to make a clean edit because it's an R-rated movie kind of thing. So we'll record something different. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the trailer stuff that we see in the trailer doesn't make it in there because it's just voiced over.
If they did they do that for the original?
Oh yeah. There's some stuff in the original ones that didn't make it in, the first two, at least.
Okay.
Probably more the second than the first two. With that, I know, like I said, there's so many rumors about this, and whether there's actually dozens of cameos or not, there's just so many rumors about this. I would love to go in and still be surprised at the end of the day, right? Like that is it. And it's more of a comedy. It's got some action stuff. The action scenes will probably be fairly good, but it is about the camaraderie, the connection, the two, I guess, opposite Marvel characters kind of teaming up here, going at it. Would be will be fun. So I expect to probably see a little trailer tomorrow, but I'm going to be buying my tickets first thing, try to get that opening day. I also feel like this is going to be one of those movies that, since it is the only Marvel movie, there might be some early preview screenings going on, maybe like a week or 2 weeks ahead of time, or was it those fan events they do occasionally? That you can get tickets for. So keep your eyes open if you want to do that. If you want to go ahead and get your tickets early, lock it in. Tomorrow's going to be your chance to do so. There was some sort of television event this weekend, Mike, and not Mike Patrick. I don't know what it was, and it is. Sorry, Habit. But I don't know what it was. But we had a lot of Marvel television news coming out. Like Brad Winderbaum, one of the the heads of Marvel TV, was out doing stuff, and like they kind of showed off that the Marvel television logo / brand has been reborn for the MCU series on Disney Plus, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. And if you may remember, Marvel Television was run by Jeff Loeb whenever they did Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., everyone's favorite Inhumans show that even debuted in IMAX, if you remember that.
I mean, my favorite for sure.
Yeah, but it did lead into some of the better stuff with Daredevil, Jessica Jones, the Defenders series as well. So they have brought that branding back, and it will live alongside Marvel Studios, which is the movie portion, Marvel Television, and Marvel Animation, which we've seen lately with I don't know how much I know you said you've not seen all of X-Men 97 yet, but like the What If stuff, they've been using that Marvel Animation Studios logo. So
I've seen all the What If stuff. So I really enjoyed the different animation styles for sure, even if I'm not interested in the plot lines of different episodes.
Yeah. And the cool thing about this at the end of the day is, for Marvel Television, for me, is like it shows that they're giving it its own, like, I guess, department, right? Like its own focus. The TV shows aren't just a part of Marvel Studios anymore. Television will get its own, I guess, people running it. And we got that promise last year when they retooled Daredevil and kind of parted ways with the writers and everything, and started like, we're not going to film, we're going to scrap or keep what we can, scrap what's not working, and start over. And this feels like the first official step in that direction, now that it's kind of out there, or they're getting ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, man, there's a lot of stuff that is not working with Marvel Television, and I think they needed to make a step like this.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, even for big fans of the property, there have been a lot of misses with Marvel TV, and I mean, very few like event shows where people from outside of the zeitgeist, outside of the MCU fan base, are like, I got to go watch that show. Because there are TV shows all over the place that occasionally drag in people that wouldn't normally watch something. Like, oh, I'm not a fan of cooking shows, but I hear The Bear is really good, that sort of thing. The Marvel just hasn't had many, if any, of those. I mean, Loki, and that might be it.
I think WandaVision and Loki.
Oh, WandaVision, yeah.
Like if we got to go back a little bit further, but like I think WandaVision and Loki were the two that everyone's like, you have to watch them, right? Kind of thing. That's the ones that kind of broke through a little bit.
Yep. And I feel like sometimes there's too much concern or too much influence or too much thought going into, well, how does this influence the MCU as a whole? Instead of just like, let's try to make a good show and then worry about the rest of that maybe a little bit later.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, no. You're right, because if they do this and they pull Marvel Television out, like, we can just make good TV shows with people who know how to make TV shows, right? I think to your point, anything that was good before, they didn't know how to do it. They were trying to run it like a movie, right? Like, and we even talked about, we'll just fix the TV show in post. That's not how TV works.
Right, throw money at it.
Yeah, like, we don't need to go back and film anything else. We'll just make the edits work, and that's not how TV works at all. So I think this is a good thing, right? I'm happy. And to your point again, make something good that's not connected to the larger events. X-Men 97. I know you haven't watched it, but I mean, I'm sure you've heard word around it, right? Like,
for sure.
It doesn't connect to the MCU. It's literally a continuation of the 90s X-Men cartoon, but they made it good because they don't have to connect everything. They don't have to worry about the repercussions of the live action movies.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. TV is a busy space nowadays, man, and so it's almost like there's more. Well, not almost. There is more competition for TV eyeballs than there is for, um, you know, going to, hey, it's raining out today. I'm gonna go spend 2.5 hours at a movie theater and watch a movie, um, or stream one on demand. There's people don't want to get
Yeah.
invested in a show if they hear, oh yeah, it's okay,
Right.
because at minimum you're talking about 8 hours of attention,
Yeah.
up to 15, 20 hours of attention. So
I
I
yeah.
think there's a lot more competition out there, and there's a lot more, there's people are turned away a lot easier, I guess.
I have I know what I can watch a movie anytime. I put them on a movie. I have a hard time committing to television shows because that's how I am, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't enjoy a binge model. I don't like just sitting still and binging things for like just taking it all in. So it's very kind of hard for me to get into TV shows sometimes. So I agree with you. Like it's got to be really enticing for me to sit down and watch it all, right? Like Fallout, like I was kind of concerned with Fallout. I was like, man, I don't. How do I want to sit down and watch this? What do I want to do? Like I'm not, I haven't played all the Fallout games, but we were able to I was able to kind of get on board with that. So I agree. There's just a lot of television shows and all things. I think not to point at the binge model. It also depends on the release model, right? Like if you do an Amazon approach where you just drop it all, some of the stuff all at once, like The Boys and Fallout, is that better or is that worse than trying to do weekly? Because you never know if that could help, if the show's going to be good or not at the end of the day. So,
Yeah, I mean, not to be pedantic, but I don't think the boys did all at once.
well, they dropped the first three, and you're right, and it's mostly like they dropped the first three. But I think and I apologize, but Amazon is very they go back and forth on their shows. I think Netflix I would say is probably more consistent, dropping everything all at once.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
was it Bridgerton season 3 dropped this weekend. Not that I watched Bridgerton by any means, folks, so don't come at me. It's just like when they drop a show, you see everything about it, like all the memes, like oh we watched it all this weekend. I'm like, good lord, it's a lot of stuff.
And now we're transitioning into becoming a Bridgerton podcast.
That's right. The only thing I wish Netflix dropped all at once some days was a Great British Baking Show. All right.
No kidding.
Right, like that's the show I'd binge in a heartbeat.
Well, I know that's because I would come, Whitney and I would come visit you, and we would just sit down, and for a whole weekend we would
right.
gamble on who's gonna win, and we would maybe take breaks and bake stuff.
Yeah. You make our
and-
own snacks along the way for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm biased. Uh, moving in, Daredevil Born Again, I think would be the biggest news out of this event that happened, and we have a new icon/logo and a release date confirmation of releasing of March 2025, which would be just shy of 10 years of whenever Daredevil dropped on Netflix, which was I think April 2015. But I like this image here. There's not a lot to give away here, but you see Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio on stage. But I love the cityscape under the word Daredevil. It's so simple. There's nothing here to read into it really, but I just like that cityscape underneath. If
Yeah, it's a cool logo. I also like the subheader, like Born Again. I think that to what we were just talking about, that almost speaks to Marvel Television as a whole. So I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it's talking about more than just Daredevil. There, like it's the whole ethos of Marvel Television, like Born Again sort of thing.
Yeah. And then
maybe
also
I'm reading too much into it.
Yeah, well, no, you're right. I think that, and then it's also brought forward from Netflix, right? Like,
Right.
It's there's multiple meanings behind it. Born Again was also a comic book series for him.
Okay.
So like it's firing on all cylinders, right? That's say what you will about the content of Marvel shows. They pick the best titles when they're putting them out there. Case in point, Secret Invasion, awesome title. Shittiest show I've ever watched in my life. So we Daredevil Born Again's getting it right. With this, it's also confirmed to be reduced to 9 episodes rather than 18 out the gate. And the running discussion is that the season 2 would be the next 9 episodes. So they've hired everyone for 18. We'll do 9 now, 9 later. And I think that's a much more digestible amount of Daredevil.
So did they already complete filming for both?
They've just the first 9.
Okay.
And that's the way to do it. Thank God, because you can get that feedback and work on season 2 a little bit. And they went ahead to kind of they showed footage, and I don't have the footage here, but it did confirm returning characters that we've talked about: Matt Murdock, Foggy Nelson, Karen Page, and Wilson Fisk / Kingpin. So like the big 4 from the Netflix series are coming back, and this seems to be very, very aligned with a continuation of that show in parts. They probably not taken like, hey, there's dragon bones under the city, but I'll take what I can get at this point for that. But yeah, you guys can take a look at that image in the show notes there. And then moving on was another show. We've talked about this kind of briefly over the past couple, I guess, years now, with no real confirmation, is that the Ironheart TV show, right? The spinoff of it will be a spinoff of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, but Riri Williams, the show, they started filming this a while ago, and they did show off a new logo for this, which is pretty close with the rest of it. It looks like my image link is broken here, so I apologize.
It worked for me.
Okay, cool, because it's not working for me. There it goes. There it is. So Ironheart. So she is a character from the comic books who essentially was a kid who took up the Iron Man mantle after Iron Man was killed in the comic books, and obviously in comic books he's back alive now. But this one you see, I don't know the actor's name, and I apologize, but play Riri Williams and Anthony Ramos as I think the villain, the Hood, the character called the Hood, next to her here on this image as well. And they did show some footage. And it kind of just the description of it is like she's stealing parts while she's at MIT to build her early suits, which we kind of got a little bit of a hint at in Wakanda Forever. She gets expelled for doing all this stuff, trying to build Iron Man suits. But later shots show her final Ironheart suit in action. Now I don't know; they did not confirm if it was the one from Wakanda Forever or a different one. And on set we saw some bigger ones, stand-in models a couple years ago. But obviously, as these shows adapt, evolve, and get kind of put under Marvel Television's banner, I could see this changing as well, right?
So this is essentially a prequel?
I think it's a both. I think it's like describes who she is and how she got on the radar for Wakanda Forever, but then also like afterwards where she has like maybe her own, like I think they said that she didn't get a keeper suit, right? In Wakanda Forever, they kept the vibranium suit in Wakanda.
So
yeah. So I think it's going to be a little bit of both. Kind of showing who she is, how she got to where she is, and then also post, having experienced a high-tech vibranium suit.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they did a really good job characterizing her character in the movie itself. So I'm really interested in this show. I thought her character was a good part of the movie.
Yeah. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's just she's here to replace Iron Man. I disagree with that. I don't think she's replacing Iron Man. I think she has her own part of it. I know that it feels like this, and you tell me if I'm wrong, it feels like they're working towards a Young Avengers movie in the MCU, and she would be a part of that, being young, and I think she might even been on the dossier that Captain Marvel had at the end of the Marvel, or not Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel had at the end of the Marvels. And the other part of this is, actor Sacha Baron Cohen is in this movie, and it's rumored, Patrick, this is going to be really hard to do that, and I apologize ahead of time, Patrick, is that he will be actually Mephisto in this because the Hood has connections to, the demon world and all this other stuff. Like, that's how he has
and
it.
I wish we had a running count on your podcast of the number of times that Mephisto has been rumored.
And it's funny because it's not been going on for a hot minute, right? Like we've had a good year or two of no Mephisto rumors, but that seems to be like I could see him easily playing like the human version of the devil who's trying to scheme his way into things. So we've not heard anything, not seen anything. Obviously, the show can change still before it comes out late next year. And these two shows kind of coincide with that Bob Iger promise that they're only going to be doing 2 2 shows a year, right? So it sounds like 2025 will be Daredevil and then Ironheart later on in the year.
And
But
I'm liking that I'm seeing 6 episodes. Keep it tight, and just do a good short show.
Yeah.
It should be fine.
I'll even take, to response to Echo, I'll take 5 episodes even, like, right? Like, I don't need more than 6 by any means. So 6 or less is pretty solid all around. However, this year we are yet to get, other than Echo that came out at the beginning of the year, our second show. The second show this year is confirmed to be titled Agatha All Along, Patrick. So we got a little teaser, a little video with all the different tease names they've been giving us over the years and the release date. So we've seen Agatha Coven of Chaos, we've seen the Darkhold Diaries, we've seen House of Harkness, and then we saw The Lying Witch with the Great Wardrobe, which is a great pun on that. But they have confirmed that it's a 2-episode premiere on September 18th. So it sounds like, again, all these titles we've seen, they were not just like, oh, we don't know what to name it. It's like the episodes are named different things. It's kind of what it's.
I feel like this title, Marvel settling on this title, is them confirming that they decided to make a TV show purely based on a song that got popular.
Catchy jingle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is them confirming that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure at our last house, our Wi-Fi password was Agatha All Along as well, just because it was funny enough. But this little tarot style teaser animated image is pretty cool. There's nothing really to take away from the footage in this, but it feels cool. I'm excited to kind of dive back into this after, what was it? WandaVision was 21, so 3.5 years later. Though they also did release some footage there. We don't have the footage, but the description again teases Agatha getting out of Wanda's hex, where she's apparently been like trying to solve a mystery, or maybe a murder mystery, I think they said, but confirms that she will be walking the witch's road to create her own coven of witches, whatever this means. So
the creative team, are there any holdovers that you're aware of from the previous show?
I don't think so, because Matt Shackman, the director, he is doing Fantastic Four.
Okay.
And I'm trying to... Jack Schaefer was the writer.
Jack Schaefer, yeah.
Let's see here. I'm pulling up the wiki page. So it says,
she did 9 episodes of WandaVision.
Okay. Yeah. So, but Jack Schaefer, did she actually show run this? I guess it's going to be.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of going through it, but I mean, again, Jack Schaefer shows as head writer and lead director. So absolutely. So yeah, it is the exact creative team coming along after.
Great. Then I'm in. Yeah.
Obviously, we've got actress Aubrey Plaza, Patti LuPone, Deborah Jo Rupp returning. This is exciting. I would take this. I like the idea of, what was it, the Vision show that was there. We've talked about Vision Quest. I think this is way more fun than Vision Quest, if I'm going to be honest, because we get the Vision. We've seen his intro. We've seen him come to life. We've seen him kill. We've seen him come back to life. But we don't know much about this fun magic stuff, right? Not Doctor Strange magic, but fun magic stuff along the way. And I've heard, again, these are all rumors, that maybe one of these is a fully musical episode as well, which would be interesting to play with different styles.
Well, I feel like they got to do it now.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
just based on her WandaVision appearance.
Exactly. Yeah, we need more songs. We need more Marvel songs hitting the top charts after, what was it, that and Rogers the Musical, right? The other one that had a little bit of music. But it seems like a great time, and
Jeremy Renner's commercial singing. I mean,
yeah, that's true. But we're gonna get into him next. Don't worry. We have Hawkeye news this week. So
transition.
Yeah, exactly. So Agatha All Along coming September 18th, 2-episode premiere. We'll come back and let you guys know. So don't expect any more Marvel, I guess, live action series until this. I think the animated ones will still be here. But shifting gears, as you mentioned, Hawkeye. The rumor is that season 2 for Hawkeye has been greenlit. after Jeremy Renner's near-death experience. Was it last year, I think? And he's recovered, and I think he's doing more. What, Mayor of Kingstown? Is that his show? He's out doing stuff. He's out doing a show. But the rumor is that it will focus on Clint's brother, Barney. His name is Barney Barton, if you will, as the villain. And the rumor is to keep costs low on this while doing it, that Kate and Clint will be trapped in one location, and it'll be very similar to the Raid movies, which I think would be fun.
Yeah, I mean that formula we've seen work a couple times now. I mean, obviously the Raid movies, but the first one that comes to mind for me is the oh my gosh, just gonna totally blank on it.
Judge Dredd.
Yeah, Judge Dredd. Thank you. Wow.
Because I was thinking Judge Dredd. I was like Judge Dredd's the other one that worked out in this situation.
Yeah. So bringing along the amateur or the inexperienced individual and going through tests and tribulations inside, a single building. I mean that movie was excellent. My concern would be carrying that on through an entire season as opposed to a 2.5-hour movie.
Mm-hmm. No, you're absolutely right. Like, how do you make that work? And I was kind of thinking about this because, for those who a lot of people don't know, I barely knew, but Clint's brother Barney, they grew up together. So, like, Hawkeye, his archery skills, like where he learned them, his brother had them as well. Like when they were like, I guess thieves as like a younger people when they ran away from home or something like that. So I think, having someone maybe with a similar skill set as Clint, with 3 archers is maybe too much, but like maybe in the comic books they were both circus actors, like they would use their skills at like the circus when they were running away. So like maybe it is like a carnival location rather than just a building. Like it's not just a building. Like imagine something like, hey, there's a bunch of traps here, and this is our Clint, this is our past. We're gonna learn more about how he grew up rather than kind of going forward. So I think there could work in those situations. But I agree with you. If it's just one building for 6 hours, that's not very cool, is it?
Yeah.
At the end
who they cast as Barney?
No, this is very rumored to be greenlit still.
Okay.
So.
Oh, okay.
But I have no qualms with continuing the Hawkeye series. I think if again under the television brand going forward, using television people instead of movie people, this can work out really well in their favor. And
yeah, I mean the Hawkeye show I thought had some good bones to it, but I think it was slightly a victim of like what you were saying, the being run like a movie production rather than a television show. But it was one that was like I would put it, if there was a category of like salvageable, it would be in that one.
It had a lot of great people. Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop is a great casting choice. I think she is just she kills that. To bring back in Florence Pugh as Yelena for an episode or two was really good. And this was the first real, I guess, thing that had the Kingpin right as the villain. And Echo even came out of here. Like it necessarily Hawkeye wasn't the highlight of his own show. It was everybody else around him that really kind of stand out to me for it. So
yeah, and it looks like they're adding in Tony Dalton, who's a really good actor. And he's going to appear in the series as well.
He was in the first one, right?
I'm sorry. I am looking at the first one. I'm a fool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. If we get more information, absolutely. But I can see some of those characters kind of carrying over.
Yes.
With that. Moving on to our show image topic of the day. This is definitely the most interesting one for me, and where I'm going to be very lack knowledgeable, but it's called Scarlett Johansson's rumored Marvel project, where she's a producer. We've talked about this a number of different projects. It could be anything, but it could be based on the Blonde Phantom, which is a comic book character created in 1946 and kind of was around for a little bit and then reintroduced in the sensational She-Hulk from the 89 to 94 era. I don't know much about this character, Patrick. I'm going to be completely honest with you.
All right.
She seems to be maybe like just very similar to the Black Widow, like a spy. She's got guns and some, I guess spy skills, but like I can't really, like she's not a superhero. She's not like a super powered hero at the end of the day. So I don't know what this is. I see parallels between this and obviously the Black Widow that Scarlett Johansson did play. And there's an interview footage of like I think in the middle of the MCU reign, like maybe near Endgame, that Scarlett Johansson mentioned this character when they were like, "Hey, when you went to Marvel, were there other characters other than Black Widow you were going to play?" And she said the Blonde Phantom, and that might be where this rumor is pointing back to say that she's doing. But I just don't see this character kind of fitting in either her own show or movie anywhere in Marvel in the foreseeable
That's what I was
future.
getting ready to ask you if you knew if we knew whether her project in quotes was a movie or a TV show.
Yeah, all the rumors have pointed to more TV shows than actual movies. So could be could be either one really, but knowing that again Bob Iger's commitment multiple times, this is not new information, this is old information, that they're going to do 2 maybe 3 movies a year and 2 TV series. Is this even maybe a Marvel adjacent project? Is it animated even?
That's what I was going to say.
Like,
do they count animated productions among those totals that he's giving?
They do not, because again, I think maybe What If would fall under MCU, but like if X-Men 97 is doing great, they shouldn't hold back on X-Men 97. But I think it's just live action productions from Iger's standpoint. But I honestly, I've got her the Blonde Phantom's Wikipedia page pulled up. She has no superhuman powers, an athletic woman with skilled hand-to-hand combatant, and a fine markswoman with the conventional handgun she carried. She also possesses excellent secretarial skills, Patrick. And yeah,
good.
I don't know what to do with this, and I don't know if this is real. Like, is this something if I said, yeah, she's doing a Blonde Phantom, is this something that we even want to put our time into? We talked about shows becoming, there's too many shows out there. You've got to commit to a show. Is this something that you'd even want to commit to? Because I'm not feeling it.
No, and if you're going to go this route, I understand if she doesn't want to step in front of the camera anymore, but if you're going to go this route, then why not either, well, I don't know. I guess rebooting the character might not have an audience either, but I just don't understand giving eliminating her character. Obviously, she's dead in the MCU, but then reintroducing a character that seems to be a less interesting version of her former character. Like, I don't know how that's going to fly in any medium, film, animated, or TV.
Right. And there's, I think she's got, if they were giving her some options, I don't think she'd choose this one, right? Like, you're like, where is the return on this, right? Like, what is this a creative project? Is this a passion project? The character doesn't have enough comic books to be a passion project, I feel. But you also have literally, if she wanted to do a Black Widows series with Florence Pugh, I think that'd be more rewarding at the end of the day for viewers and people making it, right? So sure. I don't know. This is the weirdest news I've had in a long time, and I just don't know what to do with it. So I don't know. If anyone else has any ideas on the Blonde Phantom, let us know, because we're stumped. We're just stumped here. In Marvel adjacent is the Amazon attempts to do some Spider-Man shows. They had Silk Spider Society, which is now dead at Amazon, by the way. I didn't want to put it in here, but it is dead. But after they announced that Spider Society is no longer moving forward at Amazon, they've said they're going to confirm that Nicolas Cage will star in a Spider-Man Noir series called Noir. And I don't think it's an adaptation of the comic book Spider-Man Noir, but a based on style series, right? Because obviously he voiced the animated Spider-Man Noir, the comic book series. He's very much a younger detective, but it sounds like that this description is he's an aging and down as like private investigator in 1930s New York who is forced to grapple with his past life as the city's one and only superhero. So it sounds like maybe it's an aged up Spider-Man Noir here.
And I just want to, I want a noir movie that's based off of a highly successful private investigator. Like, I feel like all these are the down on their luck private investigator. I don't know.
That's noir for you. You can't have those depressing inner monologues if he's
that's right.
If he's happy go lucky with that. I could,
with a very happy home life and
Yeah.
a beautiful wife and 2 kids that he loves very much.
He's a very successful superhero as well, right? Everyone loves him. He's obviously not, cops aren't out to get him. I've got some red flags and I've got some green flags here. Okay.
Yeah.
Red flags is it's Spider-Man Noir, but it's not. How did they not learn anything about Madam Web? Literally, like Madam Web, Sony, this Amazon and Sony, like you did a Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man, and boy, did that not good. It didn't go over very well. But Nicolas Cage, I think he is crazy enough to sell whatever he's doing. Like he will commit to this role. He's not going to half-heart it, right?
That's for sure.
He is going to go all in. So, okay, coming back the other way. Again, who's asking for a Spider-Man Noir series? Red flag, right? This is like, ooh, you're just making stuff up. But produced by Phil Lord, Chris Miller, and Amy Pascal, who've done all the good Spider-Man stuff. Back into the green flag. So, what's your take on this right out the gate?
I mean, my first thought is for any noir feature, it's all in the writing. Like you were just talking, internal dialogue, that sort of thing. The world building is really important in a noir feature. We typically, I guess one good thing that noir has going for it is noir is notorious for following around its protagonist and only giving the point of view of its protagonist. Most noir films are that way, and if every scene involves Nicolas Cage, that's a boon for the show. That's a good thing. But the problem is it requires like really sharp writing, I feel like, and the writers that they have attached to this so far aren't, like, I know the producers are inspiring confidence, but the writers to me are not inspiring confidence with such writing credits as Escape Room, Tournament of Champions, The Cloverfield Paradox, Mortal Kombat, The Lost City.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, exactly. Another red flag, right? Like really, like you're only, but there are writers, with the proper direction who can come back. Right.
For sure.
Because I look at the Cloverfield Paradox. That movie is like a gut punch to me because I'm like, oh, this is high concept sci-fi Cloverfield universe. But it was like the history of that movie. It was written one way, and then they're like, no, we're going to add Cloverfield to this movie, so they had to adapt the original script into a Cloverfield, and I'm like, that doesn't work in any way, shape, or form. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a. To me, one of the interesting parts about this, if it's a noir series, truly noir style series, even, is that unique enough right now because we don't get a lot of that kind of show right now. Like that fad is up and down, that it could stand out amongst every other show because it's got a unique kind of style and voice to it. Right?
I agree with you, but I think we don't get a lot of that because, frankly, I don't think people get it.
Yeah.
Like I don't think people, grasp onto it. The only mainstream thing that I can think of as being noir or neo-noir in the past 15 years is like Sin City had its moment.
What about Blade Runner 2049?
Oh yeah, that's a fair point. Although I think Blade Runner, I mean, especially compared to the original, kind of went away from its noir roots a little bit in the newest iteration. But
I think noir, it has a history of being black and white, right? When you think, I'm thinking a black and white film, right? Like I'm thinking, obviously, but with Blade Runner 2040, there's still noir to it. Kind of a silent protagonist, a lot of thoughts and internal thoughts, but like that, I think we can add color to noir now and it still be okay. right? With this, but in 1930s New York, I also don't think like a lot of people like gangsters with their Tommy guns out, talking with those thick New York accents.
Sure.
This can go either way. I guess I don't know if you agree that this could literally go either way. Really, really, it could be good, it could be bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm to be honest with you, I'm very interested, but I also feel like I would be in the minority there. I think the more details that people hear about it, you're losing people. Like, you hear Spider-Man and you're like, oh great, and then you hear Nicolas Cage and you're like, oh great, and then you get further down and you're I don't know. Like, if people heard about a Spider-Man series starring Nicolas Cage, I think they would be, pique their interest, and then the more details you pile on, the less and less interest.
When you find out that it's not really Spider-Man,
right? Exactly.
Yeah, kind of thing. Absolutely, yeah. I exact 100%. Like, after watching Madam Web and looking at the upcoming Kraven, I'm just not thrilled. I think even the producer of some of the Spider-Man stuff this week was like, yeah, we're excited for Venom 3, the last Venom movie, and I get that Venom, say what you will about it, it's not as bad as the other Spider-Man properties that have come out of Sony, but I don't know, it just feels like they're just blowing any chance they got at goodwill to build actually good Spider-Man stuff after Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, and Spider-Man movies. But yeah, we'll see. Well, as this gets moving along, we'll see. Amazon, again, surprised me with Fallout. Not the like you said, it's not the best show in the world, but it's still a fun show to watch. So maybe they can pull some fun out of this at the end of the day. Yeah. Creature Commandos. Are you familiar with this property over at DC Universe?
No, sir.
So this is the animated show coming up that James Gunn, like, one of the first announcements. Like, we're doing an animated show for DC first, and it's Creature Commandos. So essentially, it's, imagine Suicide Squad, but with, like, there's a Frankenstein, like a Bride of Frankenstein, like an underwater creature who looks like he's from Hellboy, or what's that movie where the lady has sex with the water dude, Alien. You don't talk about
The
it, right?
Shape of Water.
The Shape of Water. There it is. Yeah. So it's essentially Creature Commandos is Suicide Squad, but they're like just creatures, like monsters, if you will, with them. They have personality. The Weasel dude from the Suicide Squad. You remember the Weasel? Mm-hmm. He's in that.
Yes.
As that. And when they announced all this stuff, they announced the voice actors, and Frank Grillo is going to be the human leader of this, Rick Flag Sr. of that animated show, and they are actually taking him as an actor and bringing them into Peacemaker season 2, the human version of him, if you will. So the I guess live action version, not the animated version, in season 2. And James Gunn confirmed that this week, and this is interesting simply because you watched the Suicide Squad, right, when it came out?
Yes.
Yep. That Peacemaker killed Rick Flag Jr. in that one, right? Mm-hmm. So he's obviously going to have a vendetta against Peacemaker when he shows up in this. And for those who may not know, Frank Grillo, he was the in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. He was the guy who tried to arrest Captain America in the elevator. He's like,
yep.
So
I recall that.
He's got some history in Marvel. He's got some stuff with James Gunn, and the series Creature Commandos will be screened at the Annecy Film Festival. I think it's in like France, in June next month.
Right.
So, this is, to me, I said the top shows is a big point on there because I think this is like, that commitment that, hey, we are going to bring characters in who voice their characters into the live action, and I think that's great. They're actually following through that commitment, right? You can say that, like, obviously there's Weasel, who was in the Suicide Squad. He's in this. He's a CGI character played by Sean Gunn, actually. So, like, that's one thing, but to bring a whole, character from animated to live action is going to be interesting. I just don't see Frank Grillo as the dad of Rick Flag Jr. that we saw in there. Like, he looks younger than Joel Kinnaman at the end of the day. So, like, yeah, are they going to put some gray on him? Put a beard on him, kind of like the animated.
That's what I was going to say. You need a little touch of gray there.
Yeah.
I mean, his hair is jet black. I think a little touch of gray would help.
Yeah.
Sell that for us.
And he doesn't look anything like Joel Kinnaman either. So
no, he does not.
So this is going to be an interesting kind of parentage kind of thing. But yeah, obviously Peacemaker season 2 on its way. excited to catch up and see how this somehow crosses over into the new DCU proper. Moving on in the DC universe, Booster Gold, the TV series, has this is rumored from a scooper, so take it either way you want. We'll use the Blue Beetle actor from the 2023 movie. I think you pronounce it's XOLO, so I think it's Jolo. Is his name, that actor's name? So they'll be bringing him into that movie. So you'll have Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, much like the comic book team ups. And casting will be announced this year, and it's rumored to be Chris Pratt, but I don't think that's very true. I don't think Chris Pratt would commit to a TV series. Do you?
No, I mean, he for a while there he was getting the biggest movie properties, that exist in Hollywood. I can't see him going back to a TV series, especially one like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was looking up his obviously filmography. Like, he's stealing every voice actor's role out there. We joke about, right? Like, well, he's Mario, he's Garfield that just came out recently.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, he's been in Jurassic World. He's been in obviously Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers stuff. He's probably gonna get his own movie, right? They said Star-Lord will return at the end of that thing.
Yep.
But I also, I was thinking of this, I forgot about, like, he's in that show, The Terminal List on Amazon, where he's like a Navy SEAL kind of thing. It's
never even heard of that.
I remember seeing the promotions for this, and it looks like a Jason Bourne or Jack Reacher TV show. Like,
okay.
Like there's nothing on this that stands out to me. I gotta watch this.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks like literally a one of those I guess modern military spy movies kind of things. But he's a Navy SEAL who seeks to avenge the murder of his family. Pulled up here, so I mean, maybe he would commit to a show, but I'm not. I just don't feel like he would do this. If Booster Gold was a movie, absolutely 100% can see him doing it. But I think they're going to try to probably find someone maybe a little less popular, a little more cheaper to get this movie off the ground, if you will, or
sure.
TV series. Sorry.
On that note, and kind of a slight tangent, I guess.
No.
Do you think that that a lot of those actors from the Guardians movies would be tempted to follow Gunn?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I do.
It's not something I really thought about until we started discussing the Booster Gold property, but I could see that being kind of a takeover for from Marvel to DC.
I know in the Suicide Squad, I mean, and this isn't really a commitment, but like the actress who played Mantis is in like the bar dancing scene, like as one of like the locals, and then the lady who played Ratcatcher is in Guardians 3. So there is a lot of crossover. James Gunn likes to hire his usual suspects, right?
Not just his brother.
Yeah, not just his brother, but he will give Sean Gunn every role he can. I have a signed photograph from Sean Gunn. I have a voice actor. I love Sean Gunn, and we just joke about it. It's funny because obviously if Sean Gunn's not getting it, Chris Pratt's voicing it, one of the two. I think absolutely. I think what was Dave Bautista, huge vocal support for James Gunn whenever the other Disney regime fired him right after back in like 2018. So I do think they would probably follow him, and I think again he is good on his commitment to work with him across that. I could see what was it he played Yondu and then he was in the Suicide Squad opening as well.
Yeah, Michael something
Rooker.
He goes by 3 names. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Rooker. All both of those names that are Rooker.
All 3 of them.
Yeah, but yeah,
Rooker.
So I think they will. I think I don't know if it'll be right away, but obviously there's still some casting for the Supergirl movie that's going to be coming up. We've got some notes on that. The Green Lanterns TV series we'll talk about. And I think there's opportunities to put them in there and have
for sure.
But speaking of Green Lanterns, we'll jump into that real fast. The Lanterns TV series, this is again a confirmed TV series, has added Chris Mundy of the show Criminal Minds as a showrunner. And they've confirmed that Tom King, who is a comic book writer. He's done Batman comic books. He wrote Supergirl, a Woman of Tomorrow comic that they're basing the movie on. Tons more as the co-writer of the series as well.
Do you have TV credit?
I don't know. I'm going to have to look this up now. I will give a shout to friend of the show, listener Brian. He was at Motor City Comic Con this weekend, and one of the texts I got from him yesterday is literally got to meet Tom King and Mitch Gerards, who are comic book writers for DC, huge comic book writers. Mr. Miracle, that was a TV show. He's an Eisner Award-winning writer for comic books. I'm looking at, I don't see anything TV directly related in here.
Okay.
I want to look him up. So that's not saying it's not in here, but they just listed off there. But I think there's some carryover there, right? Like a script for a comic book, and a script for that stuff works out the same.
And got to start somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. If he was just like a brand new writer, like right out the gate, I'd be like, yeah, maybe. But he's still writing. Current, if you look it up, he's writing the Wonder Woman series currently, and the Penguin series for DC as of today. So yeah, I think that's great. This is a fun little thing here. Criminal Minds, it's like a murder mystery kind of show, right? And Green Lanterns, they're the space cops of the universe. I'd watch essentially not necessarily a procedural, but like a cop movie trying to solve some big mystery murder out in the universe with Green Lanterns.
Yeah, and so is that for sure the direction that they're going in, based on the Criminal Minds?
I don't know, but that's always been the rumors, right? Until they actually say something, because there's been like several Green Lanterns. Like there was a show called, I think this was called Lanterns, but there was another Green Lantern show that was going on, or a movie that was canceled whenever James Gunn and Peter Safran took over. So I don't know where everything stands as is today, but I feel that has been the heaviest rumor so far, is that they're going to be doing like they're out in the universe trying to solve a mystery with that. And then also Nathan Fillion will play the Guy Gardner, the red-haired, bold-cut version of Green Lantern in the Superman movie next year. So, yeah, Green Lantern is one of my favorite. If when people say, "Oh, you're a Marvel fan," I'm like, oh, "Yeah, that's fine." But like comic books, Green Lanterns, absolutely love their series. The one of my favorite ones was called Blackest Night, which is the idea like there's Green Lanterns, Yellow Lanterns, every color of the spectrum, and each one represents like a kind of emotion. Green being willpower, yellow fear, orange avarice. But Black Lanterns are essentially zombies, people who life. White Lanterns are life, black was death. So like there's like essentially they're bringing back dead superheroes as Black Lanterns in this big comic book culmination. So it'd be great to see the other colored rings out there having some fun.
Yeah, man. It's so funny because like Green Lantern has always interested me, but all the like the mainstream properties, I mean, well, primarily the movie, the Ryan Reynolds movie, I like have just been so terrible that I've never been able to really get into it much. So I hope it's really good.
Mm-hmm. There was also a Green Lantern animated show on Cartoon Network. It was like I say animated, like a CG animated show, and it dealt with a lot of stuff. I recommend that show. Especially I know you've got a young son. It's a kid show. And I really enjoy that. Oh, and then I forget what the other one is. Like maybe Green Lantern First Flight is a DC animated show from like 10 years, or an animated movie from 10 to 15 years ago. It was one of the first DC animated movies he did. And I recommend that if you want to get some good Green Lantern content along the way.
Definitely. I will have to check that out.
Yeah. Moving on, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. We talked about this a little bit earlier with her name is. It's Millie something. I forget her. It's not Millie Alcock, who was in House of Dragon as Supergirl. This movie is confirmed to release June 26, 2026. So 6/26/2026. That's I know that's 2 years from now, but that feels pretty good. That means they're moving along pretty well with it. They probably got a good script. So we'll get some casting announcements probably. I'm guessing Comic-Con this year, right? San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah. We'll get some more casting announcements on some villains. This is great. I'm glad they're moving forward with another movie rather than just sticking with Superman. And I know Batman Brave and the Bold is in there, but we've not heard anything move on that. So this feels pretty good.
I do wonder if there's a reason why it seems like they're putting so much into the Superman, Supergirl, Superwoman properties. here off the bat without touching on many other
Hmm.
of the characters. I mean, maybe that's just my um, me not paying as much attention to DC as Marvel, I guess. But it just feels that way.
Well, I would to me, I agree, and there, but maybe it's because some of the cast of Superman is going to be in Supergirl, right? Maybe some carryover already, right?
Fair enough.
With
Yeah.
that, and then also we have, I know it's not DC Universe proper, but we have the Batman Part 2 and Joker 2 as like
Hmm.
I know they're both Batman. It's either Batman or Superman, but like the Earthbound, like more realistic characters. Whereas James Gunn, he has some, can go sci-fi and supernatural a little bit with the Superman, Supergirl, and then have the grounded, realistic, the Batman and the Joker in movie theaters kind of alongside it, if you will.
Sure, but I mean, they're so different that no one really associates them with one another.
Well,
And
absolutely. And I think if you look at an audience point of view, do we oversaturate it with one or the other? Like, right? How do you get James Gunn's Batman out while the Batman Part 2 is out?
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, so you don't want your other big space world killing adventure feature action whatever movie to overlap or overshadow this one. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's kind of like, last year, people were like a Blue Beetle. I'm like, yeah, Blue Beetle came out, but people forgot because the Flash came out and took over literally everything, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
so people would have missed that. But at the same time, I agree. Like, there's more to DC than Batman and Superman characters, right? Like, there are so many other characters. We talked about Green Lantern, Booster Gold. We've got you know, maybe is it too late for one? Is it too soon for a Wonder Woman Aquaman reboot? I mean, I know we got Superman in here, but like, there are a lot of other DC characters that you could pull from that don't need to be those two. I guess galleries of characters, right? The one thing about Marvel, say what you will, in the early days, you had Iron Man, you had Thor, you had Captain America, and the Hulk, like four very, very different characters. Like, they were not popular at that point in time. People didn't know who
Right.
they were. So like, I think you could probably start with some small characters and have some of these quote unquote gods and monsters properties coming out that aren't just Superman.
Right. Yeah.
So, but if that's again, I think the theory I have, and you tell me what you think, because in the movie production world, Warner Brothers proper, they get money from lenders, the banks and people who finance these movies, that they don't have a lot of money to give to DC right now because everything has kind of not been good lately, right? The Flash, Black Adam. I would say maybe Blue Beetle probably got a little bit of money and broke even, but it was made for streaming. Like, all those properties haven't been doing well, and so to start a new studio and do this, they have to show success with one movie and make money before the banks or lenders give them more money for more properties. So they're probably picking like, hey, we need a win out the gate regardless of quality. It could be mediocre, but it's got Superman's name in it. We can get money to make the more niche films along the
Right.
way.
And I completely agree with that
Yeah.
in terms of starting with Superman. I thought that was the smartest. But then going from there,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why we put all our eggs in the Superman adjacent basket.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you entirely. Like,
Okay.
I just think, like, is the success of House of the Dragon and Millie Alcock's role, like we can count on her and a Superman adjacent character to be our next big hit, along the way, because I'd like to, Man Thing, not Man Thing, is it Man Thing? Swamp Thing is one of the movies on that list, right? That they announced early on. I would like to go to Swamp Thing. Like, can we get in there like a little bit? Like, I know he's had enough runs at movies and TV shows, but like, let's do some of that for a little bit. Kind of thing.
I mean, and I think what they got, I love the casting though. I mean, I know you have said in the past that you have not really gone into House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
But I think Millie's a good casting. She's really great in the show, and her stint of the show ended, not due to, there's no spoilers here, not due to a death or anything, but due to a time jump for the character.
Right.
So, yeah, I think she's a good get for sure, and I mean, even though she doesn't have a ton of experience, um, she's definitely well. I mean, that was a popular show, so she's well known enough, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. I think that's to me it'll be fine. I think any actor, we don't get to see auditions, right? From our point of view, we don't get to see the reading the scripts or how they have to do it. And I think if they can get through that far, they're doing great. I don't think she's not a nepo baby, right? She's not a hey, she's worked with James Gunn before, rehire her kind of deal. So I think it's pretty fun. A last bit of news here. While we don't have The Boys season 4 yet, that's coming out next month. They've already confirmed season 5 is going to be in the works. So I think they're trying to reduce the time between seasons on this. But I think, to me, The Boys season 5 needs to be. I think that's where it needs to end. It needs to end on a very strong 5-season run. Patrick, how do you feel about The Boys?
I really feel like you're right. I feel like I really like The Boys, first of all. So state that up front. But I feel like the seasons start to go through a similar cycle, or at least that they're starting to feel a little similar. In that, we start off introducing new characters, which is typical, obviously, or the new threat, the new major thing. Then there's the the rising action. The stakes are amped up. Someone big dies, or something crazy happens. And then there's a falling out among the team where Mother's Milk is mad about something, and everybody's their separate directions, and then somehow they come back together in the end. And like I feel like it's gone through a similar pattern every time with new characters, new stakes, new social commentary, and it's always entertaining. But I feel like we're starting to beat the same drum, and I think 5 seems like a good step to end on.
Yeah, you can kind of see the patterns kind of unfolding as you watch the show a little bit, right? Like each season, and it's not a complaint. I like watching the show as well. It's not a complaint, but there's not a lot you can do in some of these shows, right? Like, and it's just like there either ends on a good note. It usually never ends on a good note. It ends on a bad note. Right. Usually, it's worse for next season, so it amps up the stakes. But knowing that the source material, the Boys comic book, is done, and they've veered from it. They've updated it since then. It's not one for one, but they have a good ending point in sight for that. So it's not like, hey, we need to keep running as long as the comic book's running. The comic book's done, and we can end this in a good 5-season kind of deal. And what was the showrunner for this? He did the Supernatural, Eric Kripke. Right, and he had a plan to end that, I think, after 5 seasons, and then I think the fans just brought it back, and that show just ran for 15 years or something like that.
Did it really?
Yeah, well, it had an ungodly number of seasons, which is good for it. I'm glad the fans kind of get what they want, but hopefully this show they know where the end point is, and they were like, hey, we need to wrap it up here. And end it finally. That way it's a nice contained show, right? I know they're doing the spinoffs Gen V, and I think Gen V is getting a season 2. And I think there was The Boys Mexico is the other series they're working on as well. So if you can end your main one and then maybe run your spinoff secondary to that, kind of similar to Game of Thrones if you want, I think that's fine to do that. So
ready for season 4.
Yeah, season 4, and then also season 5. I would say a year, maybe a year and a half before that gets going. Well, that is it for the episode. Patrick, do you have anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
No, man. Thanks for letting me take over permanently for Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. You did a great job today. So I would say you've been promoted to full-time host. Absolutely. Yeah.
Nice. All right. What's that pay?
Pay? Oh, honey, this is an honey moment for. We don't do it for the money, the glory, or the fame over here. Believe us, we just. That's not what Superhero Slate's about. But
I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Okay, well, it was a good run. I'm glad we had you on for an episode. Before you quit, that's fine. Well, I'm just don't tell Mike. He'll come crawling back to me. He won't listen to the whole episode. He won't get this far. He'll come crawling back and ask for his place next week. I'm like, well, fine. I'll go fire Patrick. And he won't know any better. But if you want to, be in this, how to. Where can people find you at? Do you have any? You're not much of a social person, so this might be very useless for you. But I want to know.
Man.
Okay.
I'm not really on any social media. If they want to find me, they should at you. So where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Valdan87, VALDAN, or anywhere else. That's really where it is. I am video game systems, stuff like that. I would say people might be able to go find our old show Film Side Chats and listen to those 8 episodes that we did along the way if they can find it somewhere. I still own the domain, I'm pretty sure, so if we ever we've talked about doing that.
There's rumors of that starting back up, and I think it's gonna happen. It's just I need my youngest to get a little older and not be needing so much attention here.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully this jogs your podcast muscles a little bit and gets you going. Like, hey, it wasn't too bad to get up and going, was it? Just plug it in and start rolling.
Always a good time.
Yeah,
always a good time.
Well, thank you for being here. Always fun to talk to you. Now, do you know how to finish the show out? Or do you need me to do it? This is the part where
I think you got to go for it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, this is where you can find Superhero Slate everywhere you listen to fine podcasts, as Mike would say. And I don't know what a fine podcast is, but sure, why not? Wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also visit superheroslate.com. You can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, where we're live streaming right now, and Spotify and more places. We're also live streaming on Instagram right now for people who may not know that. If you want to get some swag, go ahead.
I know the end. I can do that one.
Okay, go ahead. You do that. You want to go do that?
Well, if you want to get some swag, go to superheroslate.com/store and
did you
get yourself a nice sweatshirt or t-shirt.
You just bought some swag, right? Is that
I did
recently, and I know you were disappointed that they're baseball cut tees, and I apologize for that. I was going to talk to you about that.
I'm not disappointed as much as I didn't know what a baseball cut was, and my wife said I was an idiot. So I don't think that one is your fault.
Okay. Well, how do you like your material? I wear mine all the time still. Those things hold up forever. But
yeah, man, they're great shirts. And I mean they don't feel or look cheaply made. I've ordered shirts based off of other podcast properties before, and they are nicely made shirts.
Yeah, they hold up to the point. My wife's like, you gotta get new clothes, man. I'm like, yeah, I know. I had a pair of shorts rip on me yesterday, so I'm like, yeah, I need to buy some shorts. But all right, well, I was gonna say, is this the part you know the end of the show? How we wrap it up?
Yeah, man. The best way to increase the following is to share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we'll be here every week.
That's right. We'll see you guys next week.